Who isn't a National Football League fan?
That's correct. And normal people are Kentucky Derby fans. Here is Shane Orley.
All right, let's get started with Around the NFL. A news item yesterday that I think proved Carmen and Yurko correct. Najee Harris will not have his fifth-year option picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
He went from 1,700 all-purpose yards as a rookie and becoming the face of running backs whining about the position being devalued to we aren't interested in your fifth-year option. And he's going to get trumped by Jaylen Warren, who is also in the Steeler backfield and is a better player. This is why, to a T, you should not draft running backs in the first round. The Lions did it with Gibbs. They broke the rule, and it worked this year. And I still think 4 years from now, we're going to go, they might have been better served with something else.
That's the hard part, that you can't go back and redo it the other way. And when I say that, I'm thinking about the punter in the fourth round, right? Like, you can't go back in a few years and, okay, what if we had drafted this guy in the fourth round instead of the punter? How would things turn out? I know there's a cop-up, but you have to do you. You do you. And I think a running back in the first round is warranted at times. Depends where your team is in its cycle and obviously payroll and all these things. So I wouldn't regret those moves. I understand what you're saying, and I get it. They've been devalued. But that doesn't mean you never take one early in the draft. That's my opinion.
There are very few circumstances where I don't think you take one in the top 10 ever. Ever. And Saquon Barkley's impact or lack thereof on the Giants is not a shot at Saquon Barkley. It's a shot that Carmen and Yurko are exactly right on that. Now, if you told me I am picking 31st and we lost in the Super Bowl and we got the youngest team in the league with a ready-made quarterback and we're rolling and the only thing we need is some amazing talent who happens to be on the board, I could be, whatever. But you can find good running backs outside the first round.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, but I still wouldn't make it a hard and fast rule. And you just gave a scenario where you would take one. So that's my point. There are scenarios where you might take one in the first round or even in the top 10.
My point on it is the goal with a first-round pick should be to exercise the fifth-year option. It should be that you use all 5 years available to you because you picked them in the first round and you get them onto a second contract. Najee Harris might get a discount second contract if he gets like $5 million a year. Fine. But you're not going to use the fifth-year option, and you could have gotten a player that you would have used it on. That would have been the better option. If you're going to take a running back in the first round, you have to consider how unlikely it is you're actually going to utilize the fifth year on that player. It's a mistake. If the Lions don't get Jahmyr Gibbs to a fifth-year option, they made a mistake. If the Falcons don't get Bijan Robinson to a fifth-year option, they made a mistake. It's just that's how you have to evaluate the first round. And running backs in particular, I feel like they get this thing declined all the time.
Yeah, no doubt, because their peak is usually those first 3 years, right? That's when you get the most out of them. And the league has kind of learned that. And then you cycle through the next guy. All makes sense. It's just there are exceptions to that rule now.
Yeah, if you tell me that they don't get Bijan Robinson the fifth-year option, but Atlanta re-signs him, then it's not a mistake. I just think it's way too high to draft a guy.
Agree. How about this? You might think this is way too high, Kaplan. The latest on Jordan Love and his extension eligibility with the Packers from The Athletic. This was Matt Schneidman. Has the Packers paying Jordan Love $200 million over 4 years.
Wow. $50 million, and he's done it for one season. One. Yeah, if I'm the Packers, I'm not doing that deal. I will offer you $40 million. 50? It's a lot more money. $10 million a year. And if I said 4 for 160, you're telling me he's turning that down?
No, probably not. But I think you're missing the big picture. The big picture is he's arrived. You know, he's worth some big payday. They can quibble over the millions, but I think he's proven and even the underlying metrics and things like that, that he's for real.
He's a really good football player.
So,
Pretty good
you
kid. Was
figure
what
out
I
the
said
number.
last August. I like him.
Yeah.
I would not be willing to go to $200 million, which is probably $100 million minimum guaranteed.
Right.
I
Yeah,
would hope to sign him to like the Daniel Jones deal.
Sure.
So I still have salary cap flexibility. And you're telling me he's going to go, no, I'm going to play it out?
Right. Shay, this
I
is
don't
what
believe
he
it.
wants. Is that what you said? This is what he wants?
No,
No,
this
this
is what
is-
they say he could get.
This is
got it.
the number crunchers over at Spot Track and The Athletic got
Yeah,
connected,
okay.
and they valued it out, $50 million a year, 4-year deal on the extension. You get him this season on his current contract, and the extension will kick in next year. Like I was making the point to Cap, and I've said this a bunch, but the quarterback market doesn't go backwards. And there is the school of thought, if you're the Packers, that like, yeah, he's only done it for 10 games or whatever it was. Can we really bank the future and give him $50 million a year? Maybe you want to be a little more hesitant with it. On the flip side, if you don't do it now and the cap keeps going up because the media money keeps growing and the market keeps moving forward, you might have to pay Jordan Love $65 million a year in 2 years when it comes time to pay him.
Yeah, that's why I kind of slightly differ from Cap. I think he's arrived. You pay him whatever the rate is. You know, I don't know what the number is, but you give him the big money like a starting quarterback gets. He led his team to the playoffs in his first year, and he didn't look like a first year. Now, granted, he's not a rookie, but he didn't look like a first year starter. He looked pretty good. Pretty good.
Would you rather be in a position to pay a quarterback who's proven himself for 1 year, $40 million, or would you rather be where the Bears are at with an unproven commodity in the NFL, but you still don't have to pay him for
Most
it?
people would take the second choice. That's the whole part of the reason to move on from Fields and reset the clock. But I kind of like proven, you know. There's still a chance Caleb's going to be a bust for all we know. Like, we don't know. But Jordan's already arrived, so I kind of like proven, even though Caleb probably has more pure talent.
Yeah.
Ask the Eagles. I bet they wish they could go back in time and put Hurts back on his rookie deal.
Sure, every team would like to do that, right?
Like, of
That has
course,
a
you
good
would rather
quarterback.
have. Even the Chiefs would probably say we'd rather have Patrick Mahomes on his rookie deal than what we're paying him right now.
But along with the rookie deal comes uncertainty. I mean,
Of course.
if you
No,
knew
I'm not
what
saying-
Mahomes was going to be, sure.
I'm not saying that the Chiefs would rather, like, of course, most teams would rather have the quarterback on the rookie contract.
Not most.
What about
every?
I'm being hyperbolic about the Chiefs. The Chiefs would rather pay Patrick Mahomes whatever Patrick Mahomes wants and have him be the quarterback of the football team. But like the Bills, that's where it kind of gets difficult.
Yeah.
And
So-
he's a great player.
And he is, but you're paying him a lot for a roster that's not ready to win right now, in my opinion. Packers, I think, is interesting. I think they're going to pay this Cap $50 million, Cap.
I do
I
not.
tend to think so, too. We're close to it.
I'm going to say it's less.
All right, we also have from The Athletic uncensored executives and their real thoughts on the draft. And the pick that I want to stick to here is Michael Penix Jr. going to the Falcons, because some of these executives did not hold back. Quote, how could you go through free agency and think to yourself, Penix is our guy, but let's give $100 million to Kirk Cousins just in case Penix doesn't fall to us at 8. Come on, man. Another executive. There's only one thing I could think of that would allow them to do that, and that is something happened in Kirk's rehab between when he signed and draft day that made them feel like, oh my God, we might not have him for more than a year. But there is no indication that that happened.
It's one of those deals where it's either brilliant or a complete bust. There's nothing in between. Meaning, Cousins is okay for a year or two and Penix takes over, or Cousins gets hurt and Penix takes over, and there's great quarterback play in Atlanta for a decade to come because of the two of them, or it falls apart because they don't need Penix there because Cousins is great, or Penix stinks if he takes over. Now you've waited. Like, it's either all or nothing, in my opinion, with that move.
Yeah, I read this whole article. I just think the Penix pick, you owed it to Kirk Cousins unless there's a rehab thing going on, and I would think we'd already know that. You owed him another weapon, either help his defense, his offense. You brought him in here. He's your guy.
I disagree with this owing this guy or that guy. It's worked out pretty good for the Packers now several times in a row, drafting the quarterback before your guy's done. So let's not say it's impossible.
Well, you didn't give Aaron any extra help to try and win.
Aaron won a Super Bowl. Aaron got far with what he had.
That was 15 years ago.
Okay, fine. You sacrificed that, but now you have a playoff team in the moment Aaron leaves. That's not bad either.
Okay, Ed Lynch, what is this? We're trying to just play big games?
Well, no, but you're trying to keep.
I'm trying to win Super Bowls.
As a GM, you're thinking of the now and the future. That's
I'm
how
trying
it
to win the
works.
Super Bowl. When Aaron Rodgers is in his prime winning MVPs,
You know what?
I need to go spend my capital on a player to help him.
Oh, give me a break. One draft pick every 5 years on a quarterback, and you can't win? Come on.
Oh, my God.
Jesse,
Come on.
I'm glad you brought it up.
I like
because
the idea of transitioning to the next guy.
I'm not
and letting
against that.
letting the draft pick sit for a year or two. Remember those days? Brett Favre sat, Aaron Rodgers sat, Jordan Love sat.
I'm not against that. What I'm saying to you is Kirk Cousins just got $185 million. It's time to win right now.
Yep.
How do you not use the 8th pick and go, here's Roma Dunze. Here's Dallas Turner we can play on our defense. Here's Brock Bowers, another guy you can throw to. Nope.
I don't disagree. It's risky. I said that. And what if Kirk Cousins, who's injury prone, goes down on game 4? Now, all of a sudden, we have the 8th pick in the draft ready to rock and roll. There's trade-offs to everything.
That's a what-if scenario.
In 4 years, when Kirk Cousins is gone, here's Michael Penix coming into his own at
who's
30.
going to be 28.
I know. I agree. It's risky. It's an all-or-nothing move, but don't say it can't work.
Jesse, Mike Sando wrote this piece. He said he was trying to find people who would support the move.
Yeah.
He couldn't. From league executives and former executives. One quote, I'm glad you brought both these things up, about Kirk potentially being injury prone and not making it through. Quote, people say they can get out of Kirk's deal after 2 years, which is basically saying, well, we expect him to fail, so we can get rid of the contract after 25. But you can't think that way when you're putting $100 million into Kirk Cousins. The other quote, I'd love to know what the conversations were in Atlanta leading up to that and why there was no adult supervision, a former GM said. Truth be told, they could be good next year with Kirk Cousins, come away with the 25th or 26th pick, and then you take a quarterback in that range. That is what Green Bay did with Jordan Love, and it is fundamentally different from what Atlanta just did with Penix.
No, they took him high. There's no doubt. I think it's goofy. I'm just saying, let's see it play out. If Cousins goes down, which he often does, they've got a guy like Michael Penix ready to take over, and your season's not lost like it is for a lot of teams.
Shay. Oh, we got a break.
Oh, my God.
These breaks, man, they get in the way of